Now then, and a Happy New Year, and a special message to all of those living outside of the UK. Goes like this: count yourself lucky. Anyway, let's crack on. So today, on to what many would consider, and with some justification, Royal Enfield's flagship model in the current lineup, the now somewhat iconic Interceptor 650. A modern classic motorcycle which, in its current guise, has been with us now for the best part of 5 years, and in that short time has become one of the best selling machines in modern motorcycling history. Now, the extent to which that success can be attributed to its highly competitive price speaks as much to Royal Enfield's marketing strategy as to its raised manufacturing standards, its British design, its heritage brand, and its now proven durability. You know, when it comes to any given brand or model, reputational issues will always be a function of time elapsed and volume of use. After all, that is the prevailing metric for matters appertaining to reliability. On all these fronts, the Interceptor has proved something of a groundbreaking endeavour for the Royal Enfield brand, which continues to build on its newfound reputation for a quality motorcycling experience at a highly attractive price point. Indeed, such has been the success of the Interceptor that the emergence in relatively short order of a closely matched competitor in the shape of the BSA Gold Star should come as no surprise, and whereas a liquid-cooled single wouldn't normally stand a like-for-like comparison with an air-cooled twin, in all other respects both bikes are now in the same race. The general specification of both bikes are so similar that they don't really warrant detailed comparison. Suffice to say that they have virtually identical power and torque numbers and are both UK licence A2 compliant. Time alone will tell whether the Gold Star can match the popularity and reputational credentials of the Interceptor, and it's worth bearing in mind that Royal Enfield has a 4 or 5 year start on its newest and nearest competitor, and that lead has already been consolidated with the recent launch of the Royal Enfield Super Meteor, based on its now proven 650 parallel twin platform. Whether BSA will follow hot on Enfield's heels with a cruiser-styled variant is a matter for debate. Either way, the die of the flattery which is imitation is already cast. Now, my own personal observations at this point are confined to a comparison based on a contemplation of respective features and design, together with a brief period seated upon a Gold Star at the NEC. I've yet to actually ride one. Of course, all offers of an opportunity to do so are welcome. That and my own 8 months ownership of this Euro 5 Mark II Chrome Interceptor. On first sight and feel, the Gold Star, to my mind, cuts a slightly less substantial figure than the Interceptor. It seems to carry a more diminutive form, less redolent of the Interceptor's hewn from solid billet feel. That said, many early road reviews of the BSA attest to its having a somewhat more lively mid-range response than the Royal Enfield, and so we can see here a certain quid pro quo of these comparisons. One of the big aesthetic appeals to my mind of the Interceptor are those polished, or rather polishable, engine casings on either side. To me they shout out 1950s, 1960s British motorcycling, and as a stylistic exercise alone bring the Interceptor closer to being a true work of automotive art, while still providing for an essential functional purpose. The Gold Star, on the other hand, satisfies itself with engine cases which for all the world scream function over form, and of course some will not see that as in any way being a reason for criticism. It's just an observation. and those clocks on the Gold Star so often referred to as reverse sweep. They're not reverse sweep, of course. However, the needles themselves sweep clockwise, albeit from an unconventional starting point at the 1 o'clock position. On first sight, this seems to bring an added air of originality and a further nod to the styling of early British motorcycles. But whether the experience of day-to-day use sees that novelty wear off remains to be seen. Now, I'd love to spend some time with the Gold Star. However, let me tell you about my experience with the Interceptor 650, a bike which I've owned, ridden and loved now for around 8 months. The Interceptor, well, it's a bike with more than enough real-world power, particularly once it's running beyond the 1200 mile mark. The engine's robust, tractable and always willing, and its inherent characterful throb never fails to satisfy, particularly with the addition of aftermarket exhaust cans. I've never found any lack of power during the execution of well-planned overtakes. The bike will smoke most four-wheeled competition on the road, while still returning a healthy 70 plus miles per gallon, offering a range of around 170 miles from its 13.7 litre tank. Handling is pretty good, considering the OEM suspension setup, with just the occasional tendency to skip about or track on uneven road surfaces at speed. The riding position is upright and comfortable, though the seat would certainly benefit from one of the many upgrades offered by Royal Enfield, and readily available from Hitchcocks Motorcycles, for example, who also supply a number of upgrades and accessories for the Interceptor and other Enfield models. A main stand, a centre stand, comes as standard and makes for easy chain maintenance, and the relative all-round simplicity of the bike's construction makes home servicing for the competent amateur mechanic a straightforward process. Note here, I am not such a mechanic, but the first service at 300 miles should come in at around £170 at a main dealer, including the essential valve clearance checks, with subsequent servicing every 3,000 miles or 1 year, whichever comes first. Now, touring on the Interceptor is an eminently practical proposition, with both soft, semi-rigid and rigid luggage options available. Again, please have a look at what Hitchcocks Motorcycles have to offer. There's a link in the description below. A number of colourways are available, but my personal favourite is the chrome model. That's the one I have, and it's the one that I absolutely love. Though I have to say I prefer the Mark I chrome with the black trim to my own Mark II chrome with the red trim. My good friend VFR Mitch has the Baker Express colourway, which is also a stunning colour scheme. To my own Interceptor, I've added the Royal Enfield touring seat, the heated grips, the Royal Enfield genuine handguards, crash bars, upgraded brake and clutch levers, a rear rack and some other cosmetic embellishments, all at a very modest cost, and for the most part from Hitchcocks. So, in summary, well, there's a tired old cliche which works well for the Royal Enfield Interceptor, and that is that its whole is far more than the sum of its parts. To own and to ride a Royal Enfield Interceptor is in many ways to live a dream. A nostalgic dream of a bygone era of British motorcycling, when British motorcycles ruled the earth, when wax cotton and goggles were the order of the day, and a man or a woman could rip through the country lanes of this green and pleasant land, fearing no more than the odd suicidal pheasant. Now those were the days.